Barry Corbin. You're listening to the Movie Raid.
It's time for the movie raid, and tonight's victim is actor Barry Corbin. Hello.
Hello.
I played in WarGames, Who's Harry Crumb, Critters 2, and thousands of more, right?
Well, there's been quite a few.
So what's going on?
Well, I'm actually busy right now working on a television series called Anger Management. It's on the FX network, and I think we premiered it earlier in the summer, but we're going to be back in January with it takes up 90 episodes, so we're going to be working for a little while.
That's crazy. So what brings, you've been in so many films as well as television. What do you prefer the most between film and TV series? Why do you really go toward television?
Well, that's where the work is right now, it seems like.
Oh yeah, it's popping.
I don't, the work actually is pretty much the same in both of them.
Uh-huh.
You have the luxury of more time sometimes in film. However, now we're leaning more toward small independent pictures with very low budgets, so they've got to budget their time like a television show would.
And some actors just prefer to rather go to film because, well, maybe the bigger the money is, the more roles you might get, but at the same time, television, you'll get more roles, but sometimes may not get as much money.
Well, that's true. But the money is, if I wanted to make money, I'd have gone into another business.
Yeah.
Don't have, you don't have a secure income in the business I'm in.
Yeah, television now is become. There's so many great series coming out, and it's just popping compared to film. You see all these other films are starting to slowly come back because if you compare between now and the past several years, there's so many other sequels and a lot of superhero films, a lot of remakes,
a lot of special effects.
A lot of special effects, which brings me to the question: now that a lot of them are going to 3D, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't. I don't really see much point in it, but that's just my opinion.
Why not?
I don't like putting those glasses on. It doesn't. There's very rarely does it add anything to the picture.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gimmick, I think. But of course, that's what they said about sound when it came in.
So you prefer the raw stuff?
Yeah, I like it. I like it just. I don't like a lot of digital effects and so forth. I like to see the real thing.
Yeah, like CGI. It's great, but at the same time, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, that also brings to the fact that it can be. I've said this before, but it can be used in good ways, but at the same time, it's so overly abused. I'll take a good example is the Matrix. Remember the bullet effect?
Yeah.
Where he kneels down and that slow motion effect.
Mm-hmm.
Since that came out, then a lot of films did the same exact effect.
Yeah.
It can kill the whole scenario that way.
Well, if something works once, they figure it works better 1,000 times.
Yeah. So is that in a way why you do television as well?
Well, partly, yeah. It's just television is it's a medium that you make it to cancel it. There's no such thing as a timeless television show.
Yeah.
They're disposable.
How do you treat it as?
Well, I like a show like Northern Exposure. I think was a kind of that was an unusual situation because they took a completely new approach on something. That's back in 89, 90.
Mm-hmm.
But once they do that, then the copycat stuff starts.
Oh yeah.
Once you get a hit, then you've got a dozen that are trying to ride the coattails of that hit.
Well, it's like with horror films and fantasy films. So fantasy films, there's a lot of different ones, but at the same time, they're going toward the futuristic style.
Uh-huh.
It's cool, but at the same time, it's kind of I've already seen it.
Yeah.
With horror films, for example, Halloween, then a lot of people will say, well, this horror film or this horror film copied Halloween.
Yeah. Well, they probably did.
Oh, there's always that possibility. But now we're in a completely different era, and a lot of things have changed. Technology is a little bit more easier, well, in a way, a little bit easier on filmmaking. Because if you like making a film, remember like in the editing room, the old days,
Yeah.
having to cut everything up.
With razor blade.
Yeah, you don't have to really do that anymore.
No, no.
Do you think the film industry is more about product as far as today?
I think now that the executives are a different breed. They're not filmmakers. They're money makers.
Yeah.
It's all about the deal now, rather than the product.
Yeah.
Which is why we've got these unimaginative deals, sequels and copies, and because they're rather than spend their energies on creativity, they're spending their energies on how to generate more product, more money.
Yeah, that's like what type of product and how much quantity you can make rather than the entertainment value. It's like making franchises and more franchises of something that may not even be a franchise because of how fast it's been put out.
Yeah. It's like the George Lucas selling to Disney. That's they actually are buying into that so they can sell toys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's a marketing deal now.
Yeah, if it's something like Star Wars, I mean, yeah, that's a huge thing. Again, it's comparing back to the old days. It's like back then that you would be called, oh, you're a sellout, and it lose that value again. But now, something great like that comes out, and now people want it. But now it just varies because it's like almost a hit and miss type thing.
Yeah.
But
they've got to have these franchises in order for the studios to stay in business.
Do you prefer to go to independent rather than going to a big company?
Usually they make more interesting films.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting films out there as far as independent goes. But when it comes to a big company, you could get some more money. But at the same time, it may not be the best way. It's the same thing with the whole CGI thing. It might not be the best way. You may have a lot of money for it, but that all depends how the product turns out. Independent, you have your freedom. You can do whatever you like just about, unless, of course, you take it over to a company that's more known. It could also just be changed, and you could just ultimately be erased out of it.
Yeah. Well, they usually what will happen is film will get made, and then they try to find the distributor for it. And these, I'm talking about these small independents.
Yeah.
And more times than not, they get lost. They go straight to Walmart or something.
Yeah.
And they get lost because they don't have enough money for the back end to promote the thing.
Yeah. Is that something that you think should be introduced bigger for the independent companies? Something much larger than what they've been doing now?
Well, I think that one of the most important things about film is getting it out there for people to see. If it's not out there, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Do you think it's a little bit political now?
I think there's a certain amount of politics involved.
No.
But I think there always has been.
Oh yeah, but it's definitely got more brutal though because we're in a whole new era now.
Yeah.
Because back then, a lot of films that didn't know at the time were classics. They're like huge classics now, but at that time, like let's say in the 80s and the early 70s and before that, got panned pretty bad.
Yeah.
And now critics they're still a little bit. Critics will always be harsh, regardless of what it is. But that's another thing. It's like with comic books, they finally they've been doing it off and on, but they finally starting to introduce the characters from the comic books in the film now. And because you used to see like the Batman TV series or Spider-Man or the Hulk. Now they finally got films where you can actually watch it and enjoy it with the kids and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, it goes back to the whole how much money can we make off this thing? And then we remake it, and how much more money can we get off of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So you got any movies coming out? Or in the process of coming out?
Well, that one, The Man Who Shook the Hand of Vicente Fernandez is coming out in in Los Angeles, in Encino, actually, on December 7th, I think.
Oh, yeah? What do you play as?
I played the bad guy.
Oh, you play the bad guy, so you're the main guy.
Yeah, I'm a bad guy. I'm an old, sour individual who's running this nursing home with an iron fist.
And you're used to playing authority-type figures.
Well, yeah, but I get beat this time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So what can we expect this to come out, or is this, when did this start out, actually?
Well, it starts out December 7th in Encino at one of the theaters there. I don't know which theater it is, but it'll be opening there for a run, so it can qualify for the award deals, toward the end of the year.
Yeah. Playing this character, does this actually make it a little bit more different than all the characters you've ever played, or is there something new about this one?
Yeah, I'm a old guy. I use a walker and ride a scooter around.
Really?
And Ernest Borgnine plays the good guy in it. He plays the lead guy. He gets put in a nursing home after having something goes wrong with him. He has to be put in a nursing home for a while. So he goes up against me.
Oh, yeah?
And yeah, we have a couple of showdowns in the thing. So it's it's kind of a funny little picture.
Is this your only one at the moment, as far as the because you got the TV series you just mentioned, and you got this?
Yeah, and I've got several that are out there somewhere, but I don't know what their status is. You do these things and then forget about them, and then somebody mentions they saw it. Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know where they saw it.
Yeah, it's like, don't you remember we were at the shoot like 6 months ago? Yeah, like I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, here's the photo still. Yeah, I still don't remember it.
Yeah, and some of these movies that I did 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still not out as far as I know, but the people are still optimistic they will be out, I guess.
Do you think this story is actually going to, in a way, turn some heads in a good way? I mean, it's something different that they haven't really seen.
Nobody ever starts out to say, I'm going to make a bad movie.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does, but you can't predict it. Regardless of what it is, it could always turn out really good, or it depends on the people.
Yeah, it depends on not only the people, but how they mesh together and how they work together.
Yeah, sometimes if you get a decent director or writer or something, sometimes everybody's to blame because it was such a bad film, apparently.
Yeah, well, that can happen, and sometimes it's as simple a thing as putting the wrong music to it.
Yeah, a lot of film scores, they're more like, this has always been done, but a lot of film scores are basically just bands, like let's take an example to play AC/DC in an 80s film.
Yeah.
Or anything else that's classic tracks, but there's also just regular film score which actually fits the mood. But now they're using all these rock bands just to play in the scene. It kills the scene itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit the mood, man. You're just playing this top-notch band, and it's an action-type scene, but it still kills the mood.
Yeah, that's true.
It's either...
You have to be, you have to be careful about that, because if you get the wrong deal in there, if you get the wrong combination, they're all going to work against it. They're all going to work against each other.
It's just rubbing the wrong way. It's like rubbing crayons together. It's going to mesh together. It's not going to work very well.
Yeah.
But is this one going to have an original score with this film?
Yeah, there's a pretty good little score to it. It's a Latin tinge score, guitars, and some trumpets and that kind of thing.
Well, of course, another question would be, film has always, from the beginning of time, always had its flaws. But what do you think the problems as far as resolve goes? What do you think should be resolved, especially now?
I think we should get back to making films and quit the emphasis on making money.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, money will be there if you make good film.
Yeah.
But if you make bad films, it's not going to be anywhere.
No. Well, now you can just digitally download it.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem as well, the fact that it could easily just be pirated.
Yeah. Well, it can. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you feel that
Trying to combat that, but it's hard to fight it.
It is. It'll always be hard to fight. Anything that's as far as the internet, as long as the internet exists, no matter what it is, it's always going to be taken away.
Yeah.
Anything, song, film, anything in general. If it's on video, if it's on between video and music, it's always going to be stolen because once it hits the internet, it's gone. Your work is already there.
Yeah.
You can't stop it no matter what. So does that pretty much does that kind of offend you in some way toward all your hard work in the film?
Well, I don't know how hard I work. I just
Well, like for example, they take video from the film and post it up there before even the film was even shown anywhere.
Yeah, I know they do all that, and I'd like to see some way to protect the investors on it because you know, otherwise the money will dry up.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Do you kind of, is that pretty much what you want to do, is stick to the independent for a while?
Well, I'm kind of committed to this TV series right now, so I'm kind of going there.
When do you think this film might be released?
Oh, well, it's going to open December 7th in Encino, and I think in New York too. I'm not sure, but it's and then they're going to try for a wider release later in the early next year.
And when can we check out the anger management?
Oh, the anger management, that starts in the second week of January, I believe.
Well, there you go. That is Barry Corbin, actor that played in hundreds upon hundreds of films, television, you name it.
Yeah.